Welcome to the Lake District, also called the Lakes or Lakeland. This is over 2,000 square miles of lakes, mountains, rivers and waterfalls in the northwest of England, a place that has inspired many a poet such as William Wordsworth. All the land in England above 3,000 feet above sea level is found here, with the highest peak being Scafell Pike, which we will visit later. Here I am in Ambleside, a small village on the southeast coast of the Lake District. Come join me as I follow this path along this beautiful land in search of waterfalls. We'll take this path downwards in Ambleside as we continue on our journey. Here we find the river called Stock Gill, and this river flows as a tributary of River Rothy. Notice the river bed is quite stony, made up of rounded stones. Let's see where the river takes us. Let's continue along the journey as we head closer toward the river. And here we have arrived at Stock Gill Force Waterfalls. What a magnificent sight to see. Let's learn a little bit more about how these waterfalls are actually formed. Hello again, it's Ryan the Explorer. Let's look at my cartoon universe and learn more about how waterfalls are formed. Here we go. Rivers normally run along hard rock and soft rock, which, as you can see here, are differentially eroded away. The soft rock being eroded faster than the hard rock. Eventually what happens is that a vertical incline is created. This continues as the erosion erodes away the hard rock less than a soft rock, forming a plunge pool. The undercutting of the water breaks off the hard rock, eventually forming these pebbles, as you can see, that flows along and is carried by the water along to the lower banks of the river. Great, now let's continue our journey at Aeroforce Waterfalls as we look more at some of the magnificent waterfalls seen at our Lake District. So the Arabeck is the stream you see before me that creates the waterfall, that the water comes from the upper slopes of the Stybarrow Dud, which is 720 meters or 2,362 feet high. The water then flows down approximately 22 meters or 72 feet before it reaches a shallow lake below. Stop. The actual word Era comes from the Norse meaning for many gravel banks. As you can see, there are many gravels here as I walk along and investigate a little bit about the plants that are found here in Aeroforce. Let's see. As you can see here, there is this green moss. It's also called the Atlantic moss. It's a small, non-vascular, flowerless plant that forms dense clumps around wet regions and dark regions. Taxonomically called Bryophyta. Let me jump back in time now as I visit the waterfalls in the past. Oh, here I go. Let me walk down. Whoa, this is quite steep. Let me make my way down to see how close I can get to the waterfall, and you can also actually be able to tell. Oh, here I am. Let's go closer. A bit more. Yep. There we are. Right. Wow, let's get that waterfall. Amazing. Whoa, it's huge. Ah well, let me get out of here. The Lake District is a circular upland compact group of mountains known as the Cumbrian Mountains. The mountains are eroded away by a radial pattern, creating valleys due to repeated glaciation over 2 million years ago. Geologically, it's divided into 3 bands running southwest to northeast, the younger being on the northwest, the older on the southeast. The central band of rocks is a mix of volcanic and sedimentary rocks of the mid to late Ordovician age. Here we are now at the moorlands. Moorlands is a term used for habitats in the upper areas of temperate regions where there are temperate grasslands, as you can see before me. There are occasional coniferous trees, but mostly it's shrubs. We are very close to the small village of Bottomere, and in the distance you can see another waterfall which is quite high. This is called the Moss Force waterfall that runs down from Robinson Mountain. Let's get a bit closer and have a better look. Again, you can appreciate the differential erosion of hard rock with soft rock here. And you can see the grasslands, the temperate region that covers these mountains. The higher up we go, however, we would see that it becomes quite barren, and these are called fells from the Old Norse word for mountains, which is barren rock where no grasslands will grow. We will see this in a bit more detail. In the distance we can actually see it. Now let's get a bit closer and we will move on to the little town of Bottomere. Again, let's admire the beauty of this beautiful lake district, the savannas and the valleys below with the flowing waters. Here is a small village of Bottomere, and you can see the lake Bottomere, which is adjacent to the little village in the distance. If you look on, you can see Crummock Waters, which is another lake adjacent to the Bottomere lake. Here it is. And again, you can appreciate the ferns and the shrubs and the savannas that create these beautiful moorlands. A fern forest lies before me. Ferns are also plants that are vascular in nature, which makes them different from the mosses, and they tend to grow quite abundantly in the Lake District. In the distance you can see a gorge where the Scaleforce waterfall flows of 170 feet in height. These lands are also a place where many birds flock and fly by. In the distance you can see a flock of them passing me overhead. We will now make our journey along the southwest coast of the Lake District, where we'll pass the towns of Boot and Eskdale. Again, we're heading towards Scale Pike, which is the highest mountain in England. This mountain that we will see extends 978 meters or 3,210 feet above sea level. From that mountain you can actually see Galloway Hills in Scotland. You can also see on a clear day the mountains of Northern Ireland and even Snowdonia in Wales. Now we make our way up this mountain that you see before me here, and again you can appreciate the difference between the moorlands and the fells. The moorlands being the grassy lands higher up, and the fells being the barren land where no vegetation will grow at the top of many of these mountains. As I make my way up, the grass is quite soft and the soil quite boggy. This is because the rainfall in the Lake District can be up to 2,000 millimeters or 80 inches per year, which makes the soil quite moist and acidic. Again, you can appreciate the ferns and the grasslands and the fells of Barron. I make my way along one of the moorlands to overlook the valley below. And these valleys are U-shaped in structure, and it's because they were formed from glaciation. Glaciation is a process where ice is able to shape the land or the environment around it. And we shall investigate this a little bit more detail in a bit to see how glaciers can form or have formed the lake district that we see before us today. Now let's try to look and find Scale Pike Mountain. Again, you can appreciate how high up we are if we look down at the valley below and see how very small the houses and the roads are. Again, the rocks, notice they are made up of moss as well. In the distance it's quite cloudy, but Scale Pike is there. We'll try to go a bit closer and get a better view in a bit. For the time being, let's admire the view. It's quite breathtaking, and the air is quite clean and pure here, though thinner, but very, very pure. Again, you can appreciate how high up we are. The small houses in the valley below, and there is even people you can see if you look very closely at the valley down below. There you have it, Scale Pike. And there you can see Scale Pike again in view in the distance, the highest peak in England. The clouds have cleared now and we can see Scale Pike Mountain. It is a fell, as you can see. It's over 900 meters in height. Quite a magnificent sight. Notice again the beautiful U-shaped valley below Scale Pike Mountain. Let's go into some detail now as we look at the forces that shape such valleys. Let's examine how glacial action now have developed the lake district we see today. As the glacier moves along gravity, it takes along with it rocks from the bottom along with sediment and debris. This grinds away like sandpaper against the rock, creating the U-shaped valley. The cracks of the rocks also play an important part in the erosive process, where the valley eventually becomes U-shaped, developing into what we see. The ice melts away eventually, revealing the green and the beautiful green valley that we see at present in the Lake District. Let's take a final stroll along the beautiful ferns that make up the vegetation of the Lake District on top of the mountains. Enjoy the beautiful air as well. Hello again, this is Ryan the Explorer here at Aeroforce Waterfalls. Thank you for joining me on the third episode of the Physical Geography of the Earth. Quite a beautiful sight. This is Ryan saying to follow your excitement, and I'll see you again next time.